In the year 2068, the Argyre Base on Mars stood as a symbol of humanity's relentless pursuit of knowledge and exploration. Dr. Alice Turner and Dr. John Carter were part of a team of scientists tasked with unraveling the mysteries of the Red Planet. They had come to Mars in search of answers, but they were about to face a question they could never have anticipated. As the Martian sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows through the base's transparent dome, Alice and John were in their lab, hunched over a series of glowing holographic displays. They were analyzing data from their latest expedition when the lights overhead began to flicker ominously. Alice glanced up, furrowing her brow. "John, did you see that?" John, an astrophysicist with rugged features and a penchant for adventure, looked up from his screen. "Yeah, it's been happening more frequently lately. The tech team is still trying to figure out why." As they contemplated the flickering lights, a strange, guttural growl reverberated through the lab. Alice's heart skipped a beat, and John's eyes widened in alarm. The sound didn't belong to any machinery they knew of. John reached for a flashlight on the lab bench, his hand trembling. With a click, the beam of light cut through the dimness. Shadows danced along the walls as the flashlight swept the room, revealing nothing out of the ordinary. "Did you hear that, Alice?" John whispered, his voice filled with unease. Alice nodded, her eyes darting around the lab. "I heard it. It didn't sound like any Martian fauna I've ever come across. We should check it out." Their footsteps echoed through the narrow corridor as they cautiously approached the source of the sound. The base was designed with efficiency in mind, and the corridors were a maze of interconnected modules, tunnels, and chambers. Just as they reached the corridor's junction, John felt a cold, clammy hand grip his shoulder. He spun around, his flashlight illuminating a grotesque alien visage. The creature was unlike anything they had ever seen. It had translucent skin, elongated limbs, and its eyes glowed with an eerie, malevolent light. Fear surged through John as the creature lunged at him, claws extended. He screamed as its claws dug into his chest, and his flashlight clattered to the ground. The room seemed to spin as pain seared through him. Alice watched in horror, paralyzed by fear. With all the strength he could muster, John managed to push the creature away and stagger back into the corridor. Blood stained his spacesuit and he clutched his chest, gasping for air. The creature retreated into the shadows. "Alice, run!" John wheezed, his voice barely audible over the comm. "Get help, now!" Tears welled up in Alice's eyes as she fled down the corridor, leaving her wounded colleague behind. Her heart ached, but she knew she had to survive to get help. She had to warn the others about the creature lurking in the base. As Alice sprinted through the base, she reached the control room and slammed the reinforced door behind her, sealing herself inside. She keyed her comm device, desperately trying to reach the base's security team. "This is Dr. Alice Turner at Argyre Base," she panted. "We're under attack by an unknown creature. Dr. Carter is injured and I need immediate assistance." Static crackled in response, and Alice's heart sank. The communication system was down, and she was alone in the control room. She needed to find another way to contact the base personnel. Alice scanned the room for an alternative communication method and spotted an old radio transmitter in the corner. It was outdated, but it might be their only hope. She quickly adjusted the frequency and broadcast a distress signal, praying that someone on the base would hear her. With each passing minute, the base's emergency lights dimmed, casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. Alice knew that time was running out. She couldn't hide in the control room forever. She needed to find a way to neutralize the creature and save her colleague. Arming herself with a heavy wrench she found nearby, Alice ventured out of the control room and into the dimly lit corridors. The base was eerily quiet, and her footsteps echoed through the metallic halls. As she explored, Alice discovered that the creature was drawn to areas with flickering lights. She guessed that the flickering might mimic the bioluminescent patterns of some Martian creatures. With this knowledge, she decided to set a trap. Alice disabled the lighting in a nearby corridor, leaving only one flickering emergency light at the far end. Then, she waited, her wrench raised and ready. The moments ticked by in agonizing silence until the creature, lured by the flickering light, emerged from the shadows. As it drew closer, Alice leaped forward, striking the creature with all her might. The wrench connected with its translucent skin, causing it to screech in agony. She struck again and again, not stopping until the creature lay lifeless at her feet. Exhausted and shaken, Alice returned to the control room. She contacted the base personnel and informed them of the situation. A rescue team was dispatched to retrieve Dr. Carter, but it was too late. He had succumbed to his injuries. Alice's heart ached for her fallen colleague, but she knew she had done everything she could to survive and protect the base. She had faced an unimaginable threat and emerged victorious. As she watched the sun rise over the Martian landscape, she couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries the red planet held and what other challenges lay ahead for the brave pioneers of the Argyre base.